Come on up the hill to the cradle of forestry. We got a real nice place here amongst the trees. History, nature, science, what more do you need? Forest-inspired nature discovery.
Hey, Clay.
Hey, Stephanie.
What are you doing sitting on this log?
Oh, this isn't just any log. This is a tulip poplar log. It's one of my favorite trees for when I'm in the woods and I need some resources. We've already made one video that shows us how to start a fire using the cambium, or inner bark of a tulip poplar. And in this video, I'm going to show us how to make cordage or rope.
I'm excited to learn.
Let's try it. All right, so we have our log here, and before you can start harvesting to make things like tinder bundles for fire or rope, you have to be able to identify the tree that you're looking for. So this is a tulip poplar tree, also called a yellow poplar, and this is what the leaf looks like. Obviously in the spring and summer, there are going to be more leaves on the trees, but in the fall, you can also look on the ground, and if you all see a lot of leaves that look like this, kind of like Garfield the cat's face, or also like a shirt a little bit, if you see a lot of them under the ground, on the ground around the base of a tree, there's a good chance that you have found the tree you're looking for. And the other way is the bark. And the bark is gray and smooth, just like that. And when you think you have found a tree laying on the ground, because you can't harvest bark from a tree that's standing, that's not gonna work. You have got to find a tree that's been sitting on the ground, and it has to have been sitting on the ground for a little while, long enough for the bark to have gotten a little bit wet. Not so wet that the bark is rotting off and falling off in pieces, but it also can't be so dry that you can't get your fingers underneath it and start peeling that bark off. So I have found a little section of tulip poplar here that is just right to be harvested. All right, now it's time to harvest. So if you have found a section of a log that the bark is ready to come off, sometimes it'll just peel right off and you can get it off with your hands. Sometimes you have to take a blade or a knife and run it down that tree and start a little bit of a space where you can fit your fingers underneath. And then you just start peeling it off. And if it's ready, it'll start coming off in sheets like this. And once you have it like this, you've got all these different layers of the cambium. Cambium! And in this one long strip that I have right here, there are actually dozens and dozens of very, very thin layers. And if I just kept peeling off these layers, I would end up with thinner and thinner strips of bark. And this is what we're going to use, these long strips like this. This is what we're going to use to make our cordage. All right, now for the fun part. We've done our identification of the tulip poplar tree. We have harvested the inner bark or cambium. And now we're ready to make our cordage. So I've got a nice long strip here that I have gotten from the inside of the bark. I've got a couple different long strips. And if you can't get pieces this long, that's okay. You can also make it from short pieces. But with my long piece here, I'm gonna bend this in half and find the middle point so that I have two pieces, the right side and the left side, and they're about the equal lengths, all right? And the secret to making cordage is making sure that your bark stays damp. And sometimes if you need to dip the bark into some water while you're doing this, that's gonna make this easier. But if it dries out while you're making it, it's gonna snap as you twist it, as you will see very soon. So I've got my midpoint right there. On my right side, I'm gonna twist that bark. I'm gonna kind of twist it up till it gets a little skinny. Then I'm gonna cross it over. So what I just did is I did a twist and a spin, and then I crossed it over. Twist and spin. Twist and spin. And you'll notice, as I twist and spin, the fibers of this inner bark, or cambium, is going to start kind of mushing together and turning into a piece of rope, just like that. And as I keep going, and making sure that my bark stays a little damp, it's gonna start looking more and more like a piece of rope. So I'm twisting and then I'm spinning. And what I'm doing is I'm pushing up so that this point doesn't get loose. But as you can see, that starts looking like a little piece of rope. And this rope gets really, really strong. This is the kind of rope that if you're camping and the rope that you bought at the store decides to break, if you find a piece of tulip poplar bark, you can make your own rope. And you're gonna be able to tie down your tarp or tie things to your backpack, and you will be self-sufficient. So go find yourself a piece of tulip poplar. Twist, spin, pinch.
Twist, spin, pinch.
Twist. That's it. You got it. Isn't this fun?
It's fun and it's tricky. I can see how I need a little bit more practice.
Well, you know, most good things worth doing take a little bit of practice. And you know, Find Outdoors manages lots of campgrounds and visitor centers where you can go and explore the natural world. And this camping season, why don't you let us help you find what inspires you?